Anthony.
I'm Adam.
And I'm not wearing any shoes, but you shouldn't know that.
We're here today to talk about movies. Now, this is kind of a new format, a new show we're going to be trying out here on our page for Runabout Studios. And it's just going to be kind of a lighthearted discussion about movies in general and certain topics.
Yeah, things that we care about or know about.
Yeah, just good fun about movies. Because it's really hard to make movies sometimes, but it's really easy to talk about movies, and it's fun to talk about movies.
Yeah. We've talked about movies more than we've made them.
And we've watched quite a few movies.
We've watched more movies than we've made.
Now, of course, being the scandalous, provocative filmmakers we are, we start with one of the most heated topics on the internet about movies, that is Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks. You can't bring him up without, hearing certain, derogatory things saying, "Oh, I hate that."
I mean, everyone has pointed a finger at him. He's almost killed Star Wars. That's something that
even the filmmakers, now who are making Star Wars, do bad. Like J.J. Abrams had his carcass in The Force Awakens.
They distance themselves as far from Jar Jar Binks, and we're not here to defend Jar Jar Binks. Yeah. He is an annoying character.
Because we know how much backlash we get.
We're here to kind of discuss. I mean, when I first saw Phantom Menace, I was the target demographic of that. I was fairly new to Star Wars. I wasn't this die-hard Star Wars fan. I had seen them.
Same with me.
And we were both rather young. I was about 9 years old. And for me,
was like 14.
I remember seeing all the... Because I think Jar Jar was meant to be like the next Yoda. There was action figures of him. There was toys. There was that weird... sucker thing that was his time.
He was really in his head and drank his brains or something.
And there was even that documentaries that talk about he's the first CG. I don't think a lot of people even realize that today. He was one of the first flesh and blood CG that was like a co-star. I mean, it was a pretty big deal. And when he came out, I remember seeing it. I didn't really have an opinion one way or not. He was just kind of the comic relief. I'm personally not one who disliked it when I saw it because, like I said, I wasn't a big fan, but going back and rewatching it after all this time, I'm not one of those people that...
The biggest impression I got coming out of The Phantom Menace was just a crush on Padme. That's the only thing
that got you to go to 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It got you to better watch all the Star Wars.
It got me to go back and get excited about re-renting the movie and stuff. So yeah.
But I think that's the thing about it is even going back and watching, I don't think he's the worst character out there.
Oh, muy, I love you.
Yeah,
I think he plays his part.
What I've been saying is he's this long line of tradition of these characters that show up in movies that are meant to be the kind of comic relief, meant to kind of be annoying a little bit and
for
stuff,
the kids.
Sometimes they go a little bit too far.
I think the bottom line is most people think of Jar Jar Binks and he's always up here. Oh, I don't, and it's just like a constant annoying thing. And I think that's a justified reason, but I think he has some levels and everything where I think a lot of the characters we've included in this list, I don't think really fall in that. Some of them do, but for the most part, usually they're up here on the straining your nerves.
They're characters that are at least equal to Jar Jar Binks, if not worse, to him.
And we're not going to be saying, a lot of people might say, oh, well, at least the movie around it is better than that.
Well, that's the point also. That's the point also we're making is that people don't like Phantom Menace, don't like Jar Jar Binks, will say that they love these movies and stuff. So these aren't, we could have done worse movies than this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's...
We're not really saying anything specifically against these movies. Some of them we kind of like, some of them we don't really like.
Yeah. But in all the cases, they're kind of where these characters take the movie down.
I think it's what it is these characters are the ones, when we left the movie, or when we, when the movie got over, the one thing we remember...
Or as in the case of the first movie, it kept us from actually going back and rewatching the movie since we were little kids.
They were the only thing we remember from the movie for bad. They actually had a bad taste in our mouth for that movie. So in that justification, especially for us, that's why we're saying these are worse than Jar Jar Binks. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to kind of give you a little bit of a, we have 5 characters. And these are 5 characters from movies that I think a lot of these we saw similar time to Phantom Menace. We probably saw it in that same age of 9, 10. Well, I was 9, 10 years old. So most of these ones are all from our childhood. Yeah. And so, it's not like we saw these as adults and we're just there are kind of ones we grew up with.
We're going to go down from the least annoying of that to the most annoying.
I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this. I know a lot of people are probably going to give us flack for this because I think this is a loved movie and a loved character, but you got to include him, Chunk.
Come on!
Chunk? Yeah.
Chunk from Goonies. Now, I know, I mean, there's a lot of things to defend Chunk. That's why he's relatively low on this list. He's
just a kid.
He's
I mean,
just
we don't
a
want to
kid.
go too much into,
I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I grew up with a kid just like that, or I was a kid just like that. He's perfect, but I think he's just such a ham. I mean, let me get this straight. I'm not the biggest Goonies fan, and I know...
me neither. I remember when I saw it like in high school, I think. It took me to high school, and we watched it in my English class, and I remember them turning it on. All the other kids had seen it and said, oh, this is great, this is wonderful. I remember watching it thinking, what is this? This is like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
I mean, to me, honestly, almost every character on Goonies could be on this list. You've got Mouth, who is at least more unlikable than Chunk. You've got, the one girl with the glasses, she's kind of annoying. The
Fratellis.
The Fratellis.
We always said that
annoying.
The Goonies is basically a movie where every character, or almost every character, is Jar Jar Binks.
And like Sloth, you could say is annoying. I don't think he's as annoying, like I said, as like Chunk. He's the one you could kind of compare to Jar Jar Binks, and when he's the fun comic relief character. But I mean, even Sean Astin on it, his like wide-eyed optimism is sickening and annoying.
It's our time. It's our time down here.
The Goonies is a type of movie that some people I sure love and some people hate. I'm kind of in the middle. It's kind of grown on me a little bit. I kind of give it credit because it's Steven Spielberg, and it's a movie about treasure hunting and stuff like that.
But I think the reason Chunk is on this list, and the reason I think I justify him being on this list, is that it's such a goofy movie. I mean, it doesn't really need a comic relief. And he's always...
we're getting a little too serious here, throwing this guy.
Always, turned up to 10. And he's always... I mean, like I say, he's just a kid actor. But he kind of reminds me of... And this is an honorable mention for this, a mini Otis from Superman. Another one from the same director, Richard Donner. And he's just like a mini Otis. He's just always there bumbling. And it's kind of like Jar Jar Binks, but it's just so over the top.
Richard Donner, he's a great director. He gave us the first Superman movie, but he always, in his movies, has characters like this, like you said, Otis from Superman, where the characters kind of meant to be comic relief are turned up to the top
and I said,
level.
it's such a light and goofy movie, it almost doesn't seem like it's necessary. And that's why Chunk makes this list. He's relatively low on this list.
At the same time, we're not taking it too seriously. You realize that he's funny. It's
the guy who played him, the kid who played him, actually... he was just a child actor. He went on. He's not acting anymore. He's an attorney. So don't sue us.
We don't mean anything bad. We
Nothing bad about it. We're great.
Name. I mean,
we're just saying Chunk is at least as annoying, if not, in our opinion, more annoying.
I've seen a lot of filmmakers that are like, oh, Phantom Menace is such a terrible movie. But I love that Goonies movie,
I'm beginning to like this kid much.
When we saw this movie, it was like the one thing I walked away, because there's a lot of silly, a lot of crazy things in the movie. The movie's legend, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's a
1982 or 83 movie.
No,
it wasn't 82. It was like 83, 84.
Yeah, it
Ridley
was.
Scott directed it.
It was around that time. It was just such a.
There's a lot of
1985.
85.
So a little bit later than I thought, but. That fantasy...
It wasn't the greatest movie of 1985, though. That was Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think everyone thinks that they think of Tim Curry, and
he's a great villain.
He's a great villain. It's very imposing.
Great makeup. It's got a good production design. Ridley Scott did Blade Runner and Alien.
Yeah.
But
it's just a movie that kind of I didn't really like it. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
But the one thing, when I walked away from it, the thing that I couldn't forget, and the thing that just gnawed me, it was the one character on it, the goblin character, Blix.
I am not the most loathsome of my goblins.
Truly, master.
And he's just like,
one thing I remember about him is him talking in rhymes.
Talks in rhymes.
It's nothing, if you're going to have a character talk in rhymes, it sometimes can work, but most of the time don't do it.
Magic horn is mine, mine, mine. Now all creatures will love the night and worship goblins as divine.
And he's not really... I don't remember him even being a big character. Now, most of these movies on this list we have gone back and rewatched and reevaluated, even recently, fairly recently. Legend is one we've never... only seen once, and we were going to go back and rewatch it, but we thought, what's the point?
Well,
The point is not to degrade it if you like it, but I mean the real thing when we walked away, like that character on it, I remember just thinking how annoying it was.
He talks in this high pitched voice.
So
he's kind of repulsive. He doesn't know one with a long nose and
I've seen
really long ears.
Some comments, people saying, "Oh, like Lord of the Rings ripped off Legend because that character." And he looks vaguely like an orc, but it's just like the ears are like pointy and really dumb looking. The nose, and I mean, the constraints of the makeup at that time, but it's just an annoying character, annoying look. And I can't ever really remember what he played in the movie. I know he was somewhat of an antagonist, kind of a lackey, but it seemed like he didn't really further the story along. He didn't really help it, and from what I have went back and rewatched of it with like bits and pieces of him, it just didn't seem like it helped the movie in any way. And he's relatively low on this list because again he didn't make like too big of an impression on us, but he is definitely one of the things that kind of drove us away from the
probably
movie.
all the movies on this list. The movie itself is probably the one like I said we have seen the least, and we probably
our least favorite.
Of it.
I get the point.
This is kind of a cheat because there's technically two of them.
Yeah, I mean, how do you get more annoying than one character? You put two of them on.
And I think watching this movie as a kid, it's another one I saw, and it's actually another one connected to George Lucas.
Yeah.
So
in fact, I
George
think
Lucas
a lot
as
of
well.
the tradition of what he was going for in the comic relief of Jar Jar Binks, I think, kind of stems from a movie like this, which go ahead and say.
The characters we're referring to are Frangine and Rule from Willow.
No, I don't think so.
Now, if you don't remember who Frangine and Rule are, they are the little brownies that kind of help
those. I mean, everything about them is obnoxious. They have those. I was going to say they have those obnoxious French accents. They have that obnoxious.
It's not just an obnoxious French accent. It's like a fake. Because I've looked them both up. They're both American actors, but it's like a really bad French accent.
These are, I think, two characters. Really, if you don't like Jar Jar Binks, you should not like these characters. I mean, they're following the heroes through most of the movie. Just except they have kind of an attitude problem.
Shut up or I'll break your nose. You are mine to toy with.
I mean, at least Jar Jar Binks follows the characters around and tries to help and tries to be good, but these guys are always
I think they fall under the same kind of token as Chunk in that the whole movie's so light, and it's really not that dark a movie. Even like, the comic relief, you have even Val Kilmer's obviously trying to be kind of funny in comic relief. Willow and all the other characters, they're not really the serious. So to have these comic relief characters that are just, for lack of a better word, annoying throughout the whole thing doesn't help the movie in that much way.
One thing is, I mean, this is one thing that, if a comic relief was supposed to be funny, and one thing is they're not funny.
Not really funny. They're not. I mean, the effect is actually okay. Like the actual miniature, that's kind of cool how they do it. But
I think they could have been funny. They could have worked if they didn't just push it so far.
I think it's just
they're
so
really
overdone.
Just trying to,
they show up in the movie that they like bring the baby and they're kind of that thing. But then they're tag along in the whole movie.
And one thing you were going to say is they don't really further the story at all and stuff.
No, I mean, they like the love potion is the only thing I can think of in that.
They throw it into Mad Margaret.
Yeah, they throw it on Morgan's face, and the one falls in love with the cat at one point.
But
I mean, then like they leave him behind at that one point, and then they show up at the end.
They're off. No, they're back on.
So I mean, and Willow's a movie. It's not one of my favorites, but I definitely do like Willow. I think it's a pretty fun fantasy movie. I like it better than Legend. But those two characters, like I said, they're just on it so prevalent. And there are two.
Those characters maybe could be partly blamed on George Lucas, but he didn't direct the movie, so Ron Howard's still probably the one you have to.
Shame on you, Ron Howard.
Yeah, shame on you, Ron Howard.
We'll never keep up with those horses.
Then we will have to track them.
That would take forever. Besides, even if we find them, they'll catch us, stick us in cages, torture us, and finally devour us.
Are you suggesting we go home?
Nah, this is more fun.
All right.
This particular character was really, I mean, I remember, again, saw it about 10, 11, that same age range. And
oh, yeah. Yeah, no. I was like, wait a minute, who was number two?
The movie we're referring to is Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Jim Henson's one of my favorite filmmaker. I really like Jim Henson.
I mean,
think
we're both
his
really
imagination.
influenced by Jim Henson. So there's nothing to, we're not knocking Jim Henson.
And Dark Crystal is one of those movies as a kid I really didn't like that much. And going back and I've rewatched it, bits and pieces, and I've rewatched it, and I still don't love it, but I've grown an appreciation for it.
I mean, Labyrinth is probably, I always prefer
I prefer Labyrinth, but I think at least visually, Dark Crystal is a very well put together movie.
Yeah.
It was great,
very ambitious. It was the producer of the first 2 Star Wars movies. It was directed by both Jim Henson and Frank Oz.
So I think it's one that we're not just trashing this movie, but there's one character, and I think he justifiably gets the number 2 spot, and that is the Chamberlain, the Skeksis that kind of. I don't remember what part he plays in the movie.
The only thing I remember is just.
I mean, they introduced the Skeksis, and they're kind of timid. I mean, that was one of the reasons I liked as a kid. They were freaky, and they eat, and
they're kind of off-putting as it is. But
they're good characters, and they're designed because of the puppeteering and everything. But this one character, I just remember him, and he does that. And even like the other Skeksis, like cut out that one.
I know the other characters are annoyed by him.
They want him gone.
I think that's one thing about this character of all of them. He's actually supposed to be annoying.
He's supposed to be annoying,
but he's too good at it. He's too good at being obnoxious.
Stay, and friend. Stay, and friend. Prophecy caused all this trouble.
He's supposed to be kind of an antagonist. He's always following them, and there's different things. But he just comes off as so pathetic. And
I mean, there's one part where he's like, just
please wait, please make peace.
Please,
he's just sniveling and.
Now, I'd always heard that was Frank Oz that did it. What part? I'm like, how could the guy who did Yoda do this? But I found out it's not him doing the voice.
Yeah.
He did the puppetry. He did the actual manipulating the puppet, but he wasn't the voice, which I always had kind of just falsely attributed to him. So, I mean, again, I don't really know the voice actor. Looking up some of his credits, he seems to have done, various cartoon voices and things like that. But I can't say for sure if he's like a bad actor or a bad voice actor, but definitely this character is just.
Yeah.
I hate your whimper.
And Dark Crystal is one of those. It is a dark movie. Like
Yeah,
it is almost a humorless
That's one of the
movie.
reasons why I mean,
It's a little
people,
off-putting, I think, sometimes. But he's not a comic relief. But he's definitely just something that kind of drags the rest of the movie down. And I think he was the thing, especially as a kid. I remember that guy.
I mean, even the first minute.
Character.
I mean, he's just he's this type of character. Like even before he even says something, you're like, this character's too much. This character's just.
Now I don't remember how much screen time he even has. Like Jar Jar Binks, that's one thing. Jar Jar Binks is on quite a bit. Blix, I don't think he's on. Frangine and Roll are on almost the entire movie. The Chamber, I don't remember how much he's on, but it's too much.
A good would be if they go back and
edit out.
Maybe edit him out completely.
Please give him a better voice or something. Because
please. I mean, if George Lucas was involved in it, he'd probably go back.
He'd probably do.
I mean, well, you could.
You'd go back and replace him with the voice of Jar Jar Binks.
No, Mrs. Say, Missy got Jar Jar Binks. Missy your humble servant.
This has an interesting kind of backstory because this is a movie that, I mean, this whole character is probably what deterred us from the entire movie. And
for one thing, I don't think you didn't see it until recently. I remember I've seen this movie when I was really little. I mean, it was a movie from my childhood years and years ago, and I didn't ever think the movie was really anything much. I thought it was kind of like almost a kind of a poor knockoff of E.T. kind of this sci-fi movie.
And the movie is Flight of the Navigator.
So it's another cult classic. It's another one that a lot of people like. And
I have an issue because I remember like even you and some of our other like siblings like saying they didn't like the movie, and I never saw it. And finally, it was only maybe 5 years ago, relatively recently, I finally saw the end of the movie on TV. And it came in right at the part that this character we're going to be talking about, like, basically emerges. I didn't know anything else about the rest of the movie beyond just watching that last part. And it reinforced everything I'd heard about the movie. And this character, Why don't you start?
Well, his name's Max. He's the robot, you know. And one thing that's interesting about this character is he's actually almost two different characters. He starts out with as kind of this almost like Hal from 2001, and he's not that bad. He's you know, he does a pretty good voice and stuff, and he's, you know, this mysterious character. You don't know a whole lot about him.
I have been programmed with superior intelligence.
But then halfway through, he develops this Pee Wee Herman voice, and he keeps it through the rest of the movie.
That's it, Davy.
Davy?
If you want to learn to swim,
You've got to jump in the water.
Don't forget to feed Bruiser. 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, onions, sesame seed, bun.
Well, not just the voice, it's the personality of that I mean, it's almost like the 80s or 90s personality of the kids and stuff, even though the kid is like from the 70s, isn't he?
Yeah.
You sound just like a human.
No! That dumb dog will never learn to catch a frisbee.
You are an inferior species, you dumb dork.
Butt face?
Ghost bucket.
The funniest thing about the thing that stands out the most is we always said, well, he sounded like Pee Wee Herman.
I know. I always just thought it was some guy impersonating.
And
Pee Wee
even on the
Herman,
credits, it says like Paul Mall is the
yeah.
voice, not Paul Rubens. And you know, it's just like, why would you impersonate Pee Wee Herman? He was popular at the time.
That was kind of just something that they almost did a cop out, where it's like, oh, it's
Kids like Pee Wee.
Kids like Pee Wee Herman. This movie's kind of dark. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone, you know, mysterious movie. So let's throw in some guy that sounds like Pee Wee Herman, you know.
Well, it is Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
It's Paul Rubens. He went by a different name.
And the funny thing is, he even must have not been happy with the character, because he even tried to distance himself.
I mean, it's an interesting thing, because like reading some of the backstory on it, it's like he didn't want to be typecast as Pee Wee Herman. So, you know, and him doing this character, he decided to go by a different name. But it's like, why didn't he just not do the Pee Wee Herman voice?
He's like, oh,
the other voice
I don't
on it is okay.
Yeah.
He does.
It shows his range. It shows Paul Rubens', you know, range as at least a voice actor a
But
little
then all
bit.
of a sudden he just goes full Pee Wee Herman. And not even just Pee Wee Herman. Like, I think I can see where they're going with the character. He's the kid's like, oh, you sound human. He's supposed to be like taking all the voices from television, but it's just not handled well.
Yeah.
I don't know if Paul Rubens not like the
worst
greatest
part,
voice actor.
as bad as the voice is the laugh.
The laugh,
I mean, the
the
laugh's
laugh.
what gives it away
Yeah, it's
because
like, oh.
like that's Pee Wee Herman. You know, does that ha? You know, the Pee Wee Herman laugh.
mean,
so it's like,
Whoa, this can't be happening.
Pee Wee Herman on his own, on his Pee Wee's Playhouse or his Pee Wee's Big Adventure, you know, he's kind of got a cult following. He is an annoying character, and that's what he's meant to be. But him being in this movie, which now I have to say I hadn't seen it the whole movie till recently, and I actually really quite like the movie.
Yeah.
It might almost be my favorite movie on the list on a whole, as far as how it starts, how it's got this unique thing.
Well, it starts out very differently. I mean, it starts out kind of, you know, semi-serious, and
the robot,
you know, has this
even
really
on it, is
good mystery to it,
puppetry
suspense, and all the way up to when he goes into the spaceship, and then when he's flying around, and the introduction of robots really good and stuff. But then all of a sudden, there's this scene where the laugh comes through. The Pee Wee Herman laugh
scans his head. And it stays. Like, it's not just like a little in joke.
It might have
goes
worked if
throughout
it was
a lot
like
of the
happened in
movie.
one scene. It's like, oh, he sounds like Pee Wee Herman. But he does. He goes through the rest of the movie
It's
like
the
this.
last thing you hear on the movie. Is, as the ship's flying away, it's got that Pee Wee Herman laugh.
I know, yeah, he's laughing, the ship's flying away, and it's like, that's like what they wanted you to take away from this movie.
See you later, alligator.
Why is he number one? I mean, there are the different characters. They're all annoying. I said even Jar Jar Binks. But why is this guy number one? Why do we think he's number one? I think it's because he kept us away from the movie for years. I mean, even you saw as a kid, and that's what that drove you away.
Yeah, as a kid, I knew it was
as a
like Pee Wee
kid,
Herman.
then saw some of it, just those parts, and it drew me away.
Well, excuse me.
And then finally seeing the movie, I think it's actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But that one character, the supposed comic relief, you know, whatever he was, the thing put in to keep kids, kept us away from that movie. And it's still the one thing I'm like, that movie's pretty good, but you know what, that Pee Wee Herman impersonation, that whole character arc.
And he tries to, you know, he tells jokes.
Thank you.
Hey, Blimbo, oink oink, too many Twinkies.
He tries to do different accents
It's not
and stuff.
funny ever.
And
it's never
there's
funny.
one part where he's listening to music, he's like dancing
He's
around.
more funny when he's like the robot, and he's got
Yeah.
the robot quirks, but when he goes on to that, oh, you sound human. And, you know, definitely...
I mean, this, once again, is a movie that, you know, people love, and it's one of the all-time, cult classics of the 80s and stuff, but, kind of think, why doesn't that character get the kind of hate that Jar Jar Binks does?
And if you like Max, if you think, oh, no, that's perfect and stuff, then you're wrong. No. I mean, like I said, Pee Wee Herman, he's all good and fine. If you can I just say, it's really creepy that it's Pee Wee Herman that kidnaps the kid.
Yeah.
It's kind of already a creepy premise that this robot or alien comes on, but having it the voice of Pee Wee Herman really is creepy.
It's just wrong,
It's the wrong message, and so, I mean, it's not even a good Pee Wee Herman.
I know,
it sounds like a bad impersonation. That's why we never thought it was actually. It's like a bad impersonation.
I'll show you who's inferior. Heads up.
Hey, take it easy.
I mean, you probably all have your characters you think are the most annoying. If you want to leave in the comments characters that you think are some of the most annoying, give it...
Spread the hate.
Spread the hate. And, give a description why you think they're annoying or why you think they're
or
worse than Jar Jar Binks. Or,
characters are, like, really important parts of your child. Let us know, too, because maybe we had different childhoods, But we just want to kind of take the heat away from Jar Jar for a little while and present at least some characters we find more nerve-wracking than Jar Jar.
Yeah.
So until next time, like I said, we're going to be trying this format a little bit. You can like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Watch our other videos. We make fictional movies. We have a web series and stuff. So yeah.
So definitely we'll be back. We'll be talking to you soon. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.